Alright, well here's the part 2 of my wing build. These are the spars going in, the re-gluing. I use the brown Gorilla Glue that works pretty good. It's very strong and it dries up pretty fast when you use water. Here I'm just trying to get it cleaned up a little bit. It's got a little bit of residue in there. But I grabbed the big brown bottle, but you just pretty much dump it in there, and it should expand pretty well. And the bottom, which is what I'm doing right here. This is where you put 2 spars for the main. Down on the bottom, 2 spars, and then on the top of the wing you put 1 spar. So you have a total of 3 spars down in the middle. And I just cutting the size about is will work pretty good, and just size them up and cut. It doesn't have to be super pretty because you're just using some lineman cutters or some dikes. It should cut pretty good. And I usually just use spray down the spars, throw it into place, and let the glue kind of surround it, I guess. But it's pretty simple. I don't think you can mess this up. It's pretty easy. Just poke it down. It should be able to expand pretty well around it. So, and if you didn't feel like you put enough, you can go ahead and put more glue in there to kind of help. But just keep in mind it'll expand. It'll come out the seams, but it's not really going to affect everything. You can shave it down, and then you can sand the wing down, so you can't really go wrong. Any imperfections that you run into, just lightly sand the wing down, and it's not going to jeopardize anything. So just keep that in mind. Just add more water for the second spar, and some people don't put any water on it, which works either way, but a little water never hurts. So just pushing it down. Make sure you when you do cut your spar slot, you cut it deep enough so you can have 2 spars in there, and that should be it for the bottom main spars. It's pretty simple. So that'll be this part here. It's pretty boring, so I will let you watch. Alright, well, moving on to the front spars that are along the wing, actually the front part of the wing, and these are about 2 inches, inch and a half, doesn't really matter. Back that you just glue. I have to use the kitchen because the garage is too small for me, and the table's not really set up for it. So I'm trying to be very careful and use the kitchen table because it's all I got. And just continuing on with the gluing. It's pretty much the same process with the sides. The thin spars, the Hobby King spars that you can pick up, like I said before, are relatively cheap, and they work great for the front spars. For the belly spars, I use the .125s, just for you want to be nice and stout. gun ready. Trying to make more room. Squirt it down, and I think in a little bit you can probably start seeing the glue from the belly spar or the middle spar start to pop out. So, which is pretty cool because it starts to activate relatively quick. Yeah, it's pretty simple. This is the additional spar that I like to add into the front for the GoPro strap, and again, it'll keep the material from breaking, and if you do ever have an impact, your GoPro won't go flying out and you have to go hunting for it. So it's just a little thing I added in there, just because. And the side spars go in pretty quickly. Nothing too complicated about that. The ends you just cut off, trim it flush with the wing, and that's pretty much it. Force it down. Let's see, what else? Again, I just trying to spin it so I can coat the whole rod so it actually has enough glue on it. Process probably takes a couple of hours, so there's a second one, and again, same process, repeat it. Just make sure you get it in there. So if you put enough glue in there, it should surround the spar. So the front spars, you can pretty much you can use it. There's an extra piece on the table. You can pretty much use two whites, the leftover white spars for the center. Doesn't really matter. You can use it all up, and you know, put it wherever you feel like it. So either that spar or the Hobby King spars will work. And yeah, I think that's pretty much. Oh, here we go. I forgot about these. I picked these up from when I was building my Deep Reaper XL from Crash Test Hobby, and my Grin Reaper. Now I don't know how much it helps, but it looked like a pretty cool idea that they incorporate with their wings, which I thought was kind of pretty neat to kind of join the two spars. And they use metal, but I didn't have any metal, and I had some cotton gauze or some cotton string that I picked up that I kind of used just to kind of fuse the corners together. And does it work? I don't know, but hey, it's a little extra feature, I guess, to kind of keep everything locked in. So one thing I don't do with my wings is put the shock cord in like they do. I don't really feel the need because this isn't really for combat, and the shock cord kind of helps with a blunt hit, and it keeps it from tearing the foam. With like my other wings, if I hit something, it kind of tears the foam, and the shock cord kind of disperses the impact, I guess you can call. So there's really no need for it. This isn't really a combat wing. And once you put the corners in, I think the foam's starting to activate in the middle spars. actually happens pretty quickly. So after a while, you should probably sit down when you're doing this. It's kind of hard on the back, but yeah. Well, for me it is. And just make sure you get it in there. Get the glue in the threads so it should develop faster or foam up faster. That's pretty much it for the bottom.